Who are you?
No one of consequence.
I must know.
Get used to disappointment.
Okay?
Despite players, data miners, modders, and lore enthusiasts going at Skyrim for a really long time, without anything later in the Elder Scrolls timeline, there are still plenty of unanswered questions. Some of these include, what is the Eye of Magnus actually? Who is Maik the Liar really? And where are all the toilets? Did the people of Tamriel just take big steamy dumps in the middle of the street? Give us some answers here, Todd. It's the least you can do after not giving us the Elder Scrolls 6 in 15 years, and potentially not in this decade. Still, the first two are meant to be intentionally mysterious, with the Eye of Magnus being something we probably can't comprehend in a sort of cosmic horror kind of way, without all the tentacles, and with Maik being a bit and kind of Easter eggy character. One mystery that has always bugged me is the friend that has been writing the Dragonborn letters and telling them about the words of power dotted about Skyrim. Who are they? How do they know where all the words of power are, and why are they trying to help the Dragonborn? Well, let's all put our elephant hunting hats on, do our best English accents, even though I already have one, and do some detective work. Before I bring up some candidates, let's have a look at the criteria needed to potentially be the Dragonborn's mysterious friend. Now, this only starts after you defeat your first dragon and complete the Dragon Rising questline, in which you are discovered to be Dragonborn, and basically continues until you get every single word of power. Whoever this is doesn't want you to know it's them, or at least doesn't want people who can potentially read the letter before you, like the Courier or anyone intercepting the Courier, to know who they are. They also must know enough about Skyrim and the Thu'um to locate these word walls and point you to them, while having a logical reason as to why they want you to get stronger. Now, let's get to obvious names out of the way and why I don't think it's them. The new blades, i.e. Delphine and Esbern, and the Greybeards. Now, Delphine would have all the information about the Dragon Cult and potentially where these word walls are once you raid Bleak Falls Barrow for the Dragonstone. The Dragonstone has the location of many dragon burial sites, and could potentially have all the information you need to find more word walls. This happens before you face your first dragon, so the timeline checks out, but the letters don't stop when you have a disagreement about Paarthurnax. She and Esbern want nothing to do with you if you don't slay our wise scaly boy, but you still get the letters from a friend. The letters are said to be from a him, although I'm going to somewhat disregard this since a middleman could have been used. Delphine has connections and has often got people to do some extra work for her, like Malborn when we needed help in the Thalmor embassy. Now, the points I've made for Delphine are largely true for the Greybeards too. They will disown you if you slay their master, yet you get letters all the same, and the Greybeards don't need to hide that they want you to become more knowledgeable with the Thu'um, and will straight up tell you where to find more words of power if you ask. With the way that they live as well, I don't see them enlisting Couriers for extra help, when they can just shout at you from across the world. So I'm crossing them off our list as well, but I am of course assuming that the continued delivery of the letter from our friend isn't an oversight from Bethesda. Now let's get into some of our suspects, but I'm going to start with a pair of kinda jokey options. One is Maik the Liar. Yes, this cat with his pants on fire is back again. Now, because we don't really know who Maik is, there's nothing to disprove him being the friend, since he clearly knows a lot, even if anything he says is a bunch of baloney, allegedly. Also, if Maik in Skyrim is the same Khajiit we've seen throughout the Elder Scrolls series, he could be some cosmic being, an avatar of a Khajiit deity, and so on, trying to save everyone from the end of the world by helping the Dragonborn. I don't think this is the case, but I can't disprove it, so, moving on to the Courier, or I guess the Couriers. Now, the Couriers can find you no matter what. I'm putting it out there, these guys put New Vegas Couriers to shame, because even with a civil war, bandits, dragons, vampires, deadly wildlife, and whatever Marak's trying to do, they always deliver, and it doesn't matter where you are. Collectively, with their travelling and ability to hunt you down, they could probably get the information they need to locate the words of power. The Couriers could be using the front of a friend to hide from the Thalmor that they are helping you in the hope of making you a true hero that Skyrim needs. I mean, if you're trying to deliver mail and dragons are chasing you, you would want that solved as soon as possible. I don't think this is meant to be the case, however, since the Couriers being this good at their job is more so due to Skyrim's game mechanics, and less so because of the lore. There's no way these guys can find me in the throat of the world when I needed the clear sky shout just to get here. I mean, come on. Unless they're hiding something. I don't trust the look in their eyes. Anyway, enough pussyfooting, and yes, for my non-UK viewers, that is a real word. Let's get into the real suspects, beginning with someone you might not have heard of. Fultheim. The name might ring a bell if you've done the Dark Brotherhood recently, since this is the guy in the same inn as the Gourmet. Now, the most remarkable thing about Fultheim is that he has a blade sword, and according to Hadring, the innkeeper of the Nightingale Inn, Fultheim is drinking away a lifetime of bad memories. These memories probably have something to do with the trauma of seeing fellow blades hunted by the Thalmor, although Fultheim might not be as down and out as we might believe. He still brandishes his blade sword, and the Nightingale Inn seems to be the place where those wanting to hide their identity go to. Just look at the Gourmet. Delphine also stays in an inn when in hiding, that's a lot of inns, and while I do believe the whole drunk thing isn't an act, perhaps a bit of fire gets lit in Fultheim's belly when he hears the news of the Dragonborn's return, using his old connections to help Skyrim's newest hero. He's got the reasoning and potential connections as an ex-blade, and it's highly likely that he is an ex-blade. Swords like his aren't easy to come by. Still, someone being a drunk for as long as Fultheim probably has, even as a former blade, does make him getting all the information to be the friend from the letter a little tough to believe. He isn't essential, and if he does kick the bucket, the letters won't stop. So while Fultheim is a great candidate, it probably isn't him if we use Skyrim's game logic. Now, while I didn't see a lot for this one, I did see a theory that Kimmlek, the guy who delivers food to High Hrothgar, could be the friend in question. He could have the motivation, given that he probably grew up beneath the Greybeards and has been delivering food for them for a while. Maybe this stems from a deep respect for the Thu'um, and leads to him wanting to help the Dragonborn, possibly even acting as a middleman for the Greybeards, but I don't really buy that. The Greybeards have no need for a middleman, and Kimmlek himself says that he's never been in the monastery, but doesn't want to let them down. So the respect is clearly there. He also pays you a lot of money to deliver the supplies on his behalf, and could be secretly loaded, using his cash to help the Dragonborn. But again, Kimmlek is only essential as long as the Book of Love quest remains incomplete, and the letters keep coming, even after his death, meaning he has the same problem as Fultheim, so let's move on. I have also seen some people suggest that Farengar, the court wizard of Whiterun, is the friend from the letter. He is yet another character that isn't essential, at least not after the Bleak Falls Burrow quest, so Skyrim's game logic is getting in the way again. But he would have the resources. We get the Dragonstone for him after all, and he's the court wizard of one of Skyrim's richest cities. He's also overtly fascinated by dragons, so his wanting you to become stronger through learning more of the dragon tongue could be powered by this fascination. Still, my counter for this would be that he doesn't seem that interested in you specifically. Nothing in his dialogue seems to imply that he cares about Skyrim needing a hero, and really only cares for his research. He also doesn't have much of a reason to hide his identity. Sure, your existence is a threat to the Thalmor, but Farengar is a court wizard. He's got Jarl Balgrof's backing, so realistically, what is he to fear? It's an interesting theory, and it certainly could work, but I don't personally think Farengar fully fits the friend from the letters. While Whiterun's court wizard is a bit of a mundane suspect, perhaps the most bizarre theory I have seen is that the friend is the Last Dragonborn from the future. Which, I mean, sure, why not? They're no Doctor Who, but time travel isn't alien to the Dragonborn. You go to the past on 2 occasions. one at the throat of the world with an Elder Scroll to learn Dragonrend, and the other time with the Dragon Priest masks in the Labyrinthian. Considering that we can keep the Elder Scroll to do some time travelling later on, it's technically feasible. An older version, or perhaps an alternate reality version of our character, would have the means, the knowledge, and the capability to do so, especially because multiple realities can exist at once in Elder Scrolls before reunifying. This is what dragon breaks can cause, and we physically see one in Skyrim. Perhaps this future or alternate Dragonborn is from a time where he wasn't as successful in his endeavours. Maybe he couldn't beat Alduin, or Marak, or maybe even Harkon, although I doubt that because, in the words of Tyson Fury, Harkon is a bit of a dosser. Either way, sending us letters as a friend would help us get stronger. And maybe hiding his identity would stop the dragon break from getting even worse, although I'm actually not sure that's how dragon breaks work. This would make even more sense if you believe the theory that the Dragonborn is a Shezareen, essentially a mortal incarnation of Shor/Shizar/Lorcan, he's got a lot of names. Shezareen of the past are known to dabble in some time travel. For instance, Pelennor was said to be a Shezareen in the Song of Pelennor, and he was giving away Elder Scrolls spoilers like crazy, shouting Remen's name, an emperor who would appear thousands of years later. To be honest, I can't disprove this theory because I've got no evidence for or against it. It's feasible, sure, and Bethesda does like the Elder Scrolls to be one of the wackiest fantasy universes out there, but I don't think it's the one that makes the most sense, purely because it just seems way too out there, for something that seems to have a more simple answer.
So man, who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
I have told you.
For me, one of the most convincing suspects is the Ebony Warrior, the red guard clad in all black, who comes to challenge the Dragonborn in the hopes of going to Sovngarde. If the Ebony Warrior is to be believed, he has the resources and the travel miles to know where potential words of power are, and the means to pay for more investigating should it be needed. He also has access to the voice, being probably on par with someone like Ulfric with the Thu'um, who had 10 years of training with the Greybeards, and states that he's basically done everything there is to do. He was real quiet when the dragon, vampire and Marak crises were a thing, but whatever. He also only appears when you are level 80, and if you know how powerful the Dragonborn is in the lore, or need some reminding with this video here, it is implied that the Ebony Warrior is the closest thing you have to an equal at your strongest. Considering he doesn't have the cheat code that is your dragon's soul, it would have taken the Ebony Warrior a lot longer than the Dragonborn to reach this level of power, and not having an equal probably made him feel like Saitama until he heard of the Dragonborn. It does make sense for him to try to make the Dragonborn as strong as possible, through the guise of a friend through letters. This way he can sit back, watch the Last Dragonborn grow, and once they've proven their power by essentially doing everything in the game, the Ebony Warrior will step in to challenge them. Now, the Ebony Warrior is obviously not essential, and if there are still words of power, you're still going to get letters after his death. But it does feel like he's the final hurdle for the Dragonborn, and is meant to be done once you have all the words of power possible. The only reason why this isn't my favourite candidate for our friend is that we don't know too much about the Ebony Warrior. Sure, he could be what you see on the tin, a great adventurer who kept getting stronger and just wants an honourable path to Sovngarde. But there are quite a few theories that he's something more. One of the main ones is that he is Raymond Ebonarm, the god of war. No, not that kind of god of war, go away Kratos. He seems to be more of a minor deity, or a hero saint from the Iliac Bay, known for wearing ebony armour, and having an ebony sword fused to his arm. This description almost suits the Ebony Warrior, and perhaps he is an avatar of this god, or a reincarnation of the original saint, similar to how the Nerevarine is the reincarnation of Indra or Nerevar. And that would explain why he's so powerful. His motivation could just be sheer boredom, and because Ebonarm was originally pictured as a Nord by the developers, perhaps this could explain why a red guard like the Ebony Warrior seeks Sovngarde. Then again, I'm not convinced Bethesda thought about this and probably just have the Ebony Warrior as a very strong adventurer. Even then, he could still be our friend. I mean, it's not like the letters have to be sent by some godly saint warrior. But there's a lot of question marks around the Ebony Warrior. And because he's a bit of an arbitrary character, I'm not so convinced that he's our friend from the letter. So, after all my research, that leaves me one name. But before I get into who I think is behind the letter from a friend, I need to talk about a feature around the letter that I've omitted thus far, because it doesn't really make much sense. You see, the letter is obviously a template that is just filled in each time, and here's the template itself. Now, whenever you use a shout in a named area, there is a random chance that this is the area you cause a stir in. When I say any named area, I mean any named area. This includes the bloody Soul Cairn and Apocrypha, which, mind you, are Oblivion realms. Now, this could just be how the game is coded, and Bethesda could have been lazy, meaning that, lore-wise, there shouldn't be a way our friend knew we caused a stir in the Oblivion realms. Having said that, there is an off chance, however slim, that this was intentional. And if we're taking everything about the letter from a friend literally, including this, whoever is behind it will keep giving us letters until the cows come home, no matter what. And no matter where. And there is one name that seems the most likely for me. Hermaeus Mora. Hermaeus Mora has been messing around with Nordic powerhouses ever since he was known as the Woodland Man in At Mora, with his two main victims being Ysgramor and of course Mirac. The Last Dragonborn gets added to this list in the Dragonborn DLC, although it's clear that we've caught Tentacle McGee's many eyes beforehand. There's his Daedric quest, discerning the transmundane. But, as a being that prides himself on knowledge, Hermaeus Mora no doubt knows about us as soon as the Greybeards scream our name. I mean, if all Skyrim knows, he has to know. Given how Mirac was probably getting his escape plan together a fair bit before sending his cultists our way, it's also likely that Hermaeus Mora knew his imprisoned Dragonborn was making a great escape sooner rather than later. So, when we come along, it seems that there is a replacement right there for the taking. The problem is that Mirac is extremely powerful, so Hermaeus Mora needs to fatten up his next pig for it to take down the old boar. I mean, if Mehrunes Dagon can organise a cult to assassinate the Emperor of Cyrodiil, I'm sure the knowledgeable Calamari over here can get someone to send the Dragonborn some letters, and with him being a Daedric Prince of Knowledge, it makes sense that he knows that the Last Dragonborn has used the voice no matter where they used it. This would explain why the letter includes strange places like the Soul Cairn and especially Apocrypha, since this is where Hermaeus Mora calls home. If challenging Mirac is the goal, getting the Dragonborn stronger seems like the right thing to do, and doing it through something as mundane as letters is likely not going to raise any eyebrows, or at least have any fingers pointed at Hermaeus Mora. It's a way of manipulating the Dragonborn for the Daedric Prince's goal without us knowing, and he's giving us knowledge, which is his entire thing. Hermaeus Mora puts decent effort into giving us power even before the Dragonborn DLC too, so it isn't as though this behaviour is out of character. His weird skin book thing literally gives us more knowledge and thus more level ups. More than that, Cthulhu's slow-speaking knockoff probably wants us to still get stronger post-Mirac, since we're sort of on his payroll now, and he's not going to complain about having an even mightier servant. Hermaeus Mora probably doesn't want Alduin to end the world either, since that would just be a ton of lost knowledge. He has the knowledge, the means, and the motivation to send us these letters, and more than that, all of the strangeness regarding these letters makes sense if we attribute them to Hermaeus Mora. Ultimately, I feel that the Calamari King here is the most likely option as our secret admirer. However, I am trying to make sense of some pretty funky nonsense, like causing a stir in the Soul Cairn and Apocrypha, which you can probably just ignore if you're trying to play detective yourself. Truthfully, I don't believe that Bethesda really have a name or face attached to our friend. It could be someone we've never met in a different country that just so happens to have a strong intel network. It could also just be a gameplay feature more than anything else, and at least this one doesn't involve flying mammoths. The characters I've listed here aren't the only suspects too, so if you have any theories as to who the Dragonborn's friend might be, feel free to educate both other viewers and me in the comments section below. Much like Squid Game over here, I enjoy amassing Elder Scrolls knowledge. This channel is called Nox's Library after all. Either way, thank you for watching. And an extra thank you if you do the whole like, comment, subscribe ritual. I can't really believe we hit over 3,000 subscribers in 2025. And here's hoping for an even better 2026, from both a YouTube perspective and the world. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and maybe I'll see you in another one down the line.
The wolf bore its fangs and spread its claws, and tore at its own hide. Drink the blood and become my sons, or by dawn you'll never survive. And so the pack was born again as the wolves of Jorvaskar, to rule in life and serve in death as the moonlight's bound hunter. And so the pack was born again as the wolves of Jorvaskar, to rule in life and serve in death as the moonlight's dark hunter.